recording this computer. All right, we are in week 5. Yay, week 5. Welcome to Wednesday. We're going to talk quickly about these codes here, and then this week is very simple. It's about outer joins. A lot of the stuff they ask you to learn this week doesn't actually exist in MySQL, so it's more of a academic exercise this week than anything else. And I will talk about that in a second. And then we'll take a little bit of time at the end, and I will walk you through how I design a database. I actually need to think of a topic. I had several topics that I was going to do. I don't know which one to use. I'll figure one out. Okay. All right. So any question on last week's work or any question on this week's work before we begin?
Don't think so.
Right. Okay. Aaron?
Oh, there was a couple of, never mind. I'll go back and look for those.
Right.
I'm not going to booger up the.
I have one question.
Sure.
No, I can't find. I put it in my notes, and now I can't find it.
Okay.
Well, what would be a question that you would ask to use an outer join? You know, like what would be the? I saw that it wanted to get all the employees' names and all the customers' names, but like what would real life
For an outer join be?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we had a database for a school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had well, maybe I'll do this one. So actually let's play with this. Let's take a step back here and let's start the ERD stuff first, because I can answer your question as I do this. Okay. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm trying to design a database for a school. And so it's gonna be like the building, and we're gonna talk about the rooms and the teachers and things like that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start. So whenever you start building a database, and I'm sorry if this is a whiplash thing for everybody, I'm just gonna start. I said I was gonna start with code and jump into an ERD. I'm gonna start with an ERD because I can answer your question better if I design the ERD and then show you why I use the outer join for that. Okay. So I'm gonna create a table here. Okay. And the table is going to be teachers. Okay. And actually, as a note, you never pluralize the table, and it's always in the singular. So teacher. And then I'm going to have a teacher ID. And then I'm going to have a last L name. And I'm going to have an F name. And then I will have, we do our address and stuff like that. So address, so I know where they live. And then I want the phone number because I need to be able to contact them. And then I'll probably put in here like hire date. All right, and I'll probably put make that a date. I'll probably just make that a date, not a date time, because why would we need to know the time they were hired? And then we'll do just for fun birth date. Remember, it is illegal to ask someone their age, but it is not illegal to ask someone their birthday. Okay, not date time again. Okay, so I've got the teacher table. So then I'm going to create a table called classrooms. So I'm going to create a table called schools. Okay. School. And then here I'm going to have school ID. And a school name. I'm going to have school address. So that's good. Okay, so then looking from here, I'll need to have a classroom table. Okay. My classroom table, please. Thank you. Okay, classroom. Okay, and I have a classroom ID. And I'm going to have capacity. Okay. Okay. I'm going to try to do this right. Capacity. Okay. So we'll leave that for right now. Okay. So now I know that one classroom can only be in one school, but one school can have many classrooms. So it's okay if I do a foreign key from school ID, from school here. Nope, it's not what I want. Yep. Thank you. I'm going to do a one-to-many. I'm going to do from school ID to classroom. I went the wrong way, so let me reverse that. Okay. Oh. Okay. So I know that one classroom, one school and many classrooms. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to add something here real quick. I'm going to do number. Should put that in the beginning. That's fine. Right. So one school has many classrooms, but one classroom can only be in one school. So we have a one-to-many relationship here, which is totally fine. Okay. One school has many teachers. One teacher can work at many schools. So I can't join these two tables together directly because it would be many to many. Okay. So I'm going to create a middle table. I'm going to call school teachers, school teacher. Okay. And here, why is that happening? That's not what happened at all.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a goofy question.
Go ahead.
If I use the many-to-many link down there, it throws the table in there for me, right?
Like a linking table.
I don't know. I've never tried that before.
The NM, if I link those two tables.
It does.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was going to ask.
I honestly have never tried that before. All right. That's super fun. Good point. Thank you. But here also, so now here's an interesting question on this one, right? You guys learned about primary keys yet? Have there been discussion? Okay, so
Yes.
the primary key is the main index. It's the one that has a little gold key here, right? Now, how many columns can be in a primary key?
I don't know.
It's up to 3. So look here. This is fun. Notice how these two columns are the primary key. The primary key has to be unique, right? Here, school ID, only one school will have that school ID. Here, teacher ID will only have teacher ID. Now, I could put a column in here called teacher has school ID, right? But if I make these two columns the primary key, since only one teacher ID can teach at one school ID, they'll never duplicate. Does that make sense? So if Bob is teacher ID 67 and Lakeview High School is number 13, when I put them here, when I put him here, they teach at that school, that combination will never happen again. Because it can only happen the one time. because there's only one ID number 67 and there's only one ID number 13 in schools, and it will never duplicate. The one thing I'm going to put here is I'm going to do start date, and we'll put end date because teachers change schools. Okay. That was a nice catch there, Philip. That's a cheat I didn't know about. What are your dates here? Dates and dates. Okay. Now here, one classroom could have many teachers in it, depending on the day, and one teacher might have many classrooms. So we have the same thing here. Okay. Now, you asked, and I'm not going to write this query, but you asked, why would I use an outer join? Okay. I need to know how many classrooms don't have teachers in them. And I want to write a query that shows me the classroom name, the teacher name, and then the classroom, the school, the classroom, and the teacher. And I want to see what classrooms are empty, right? So I would do an outer join between teachers has classroom and classroom. Because if I do an outer join and I use a right outer join because classroom's on the right, okay? I'm going to say, show me the school with every classroom that's there. Show me the ones that have a teacher, but also show me the ones that don't have a teacher. So it's going to list out every classroom that's there and put the teacher's name where there's a teacher's name, but there's not, that's going to show no. I could also write a query saying, okay, it's the beginning of school. How many teachers don't have a classroom in a school? So I need to find that. So I need to do that. See, does that make sense where you'd find why you use that?
Yeah. Is it because you're finding the people with classrooms and without that make it an outer join, or no?
The outer join is an inner join is saying, show me where everything matches.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Show me all the teachers that have a school, right? Even right here, I could do it. Show me all the teachers that have a school and all the schools that have a teacher. And I'll do inner joins and it'll just give me every teacher, but it'll only show me the teachers that have a school and it'll only show me the schools that have a teacher. If there is a school in my list that doesn't have a teacher, they will not show up in those results. If
Right.
there's a teacher who's not assigned to a school, they will not show up in those results. If I do an outer join, if I write a query where I join this here by an inner join, and I join this here, if I do this here by an outer join, I do teacher, left outer join, teacher, school, inner join, school, right? It's going to show me every teacher name, and it's going to show me the schools they are affiliated with. But if there is a teacher without a school, if I'm using a left outer join, the teacher name will show up and it will have a big null where it says school. If I want to see what schools don't have any teachers, which would be weird, I would run a right outer join from here to here, and then an inner join from here. So basically that would show me every school would show up, right? And the ones that had teachers, the names of the teachers would pop up too. Okay. But that's why I would do that. So let's continue fleshing this out. So I've got my school table. I have my teacher has, it should be school as teacher, that's fine. I've got my teacher has classroom and classroom. What other tables do you think, I've got 5 tables here. What other tables do you think I might need at this point? I can think of 2 offhand. Actually, I can think of many, but I'm going to do, unless you can think, someone can think of another one. What other tables would courses? So I need a table because courses. courses. I would have a course ID. I would have.
When you're naming those, Brother Stevie,
Mhm.
so do you want the title of the table be in plural and then the ID be in singular? Or does it not
Hey.
matter?
Okay, so it is a standard that tables are never plural.
Okay.
It's just the way they do things. Is tables are never plural. It's your database. You can call them, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and no one's going to say anything. It's just whenever you're naming them, they always want you to have non-plural column names. I never really understood why, but that's just the thing. So the course, it'd be courses, it'd be course. Okay, so one teacher could teach many courses, and one course could be taught by many teachers. So we need our teacher as courses table. Okay. Put you there, get you a little more. Okay. Okay. Any other tables you think we need?
I
Do you
mean,
need
courses could be
student?
terms, different terms.
We could go that route, but then we're going to go into grading stuff, which is why I haven't brought in a student table yet. But yeah, we could do course ID. We can go here.
Probably need students.
Yeah, the student table we could do. So let's see if we're gonna do courses. So we'd probably do like to your point here, we need to make a terms table and then link that over. So we do here we do terms. Terms. And then we have term ID, a term, let's say term. Term ID. And then we do session. We do some year. And then however we want to break up the terms. And then one course could be in many terms, and one term will have many courses. So back to here. Okay. Now students, I'm going to stay away from students right now because that's going to open a whole other can of worms. Because we're like, our tables are growing. So if I start doing students, we're going to have students in classrooms, students in schools. The one thing I want to add here is I'm going to add, what do I want to call it? Features, classroom features. Like, oh, I hate when that happens. Like, does it have, is it like a science lab? Does it have refrigerators? Does it have sinks? Does it have stuff like that? So I go room feature. Oh yeah, room feature.
With the teachers and departments.
Yeah, you can do the teachers and departments.
The courses and departments.
Yeah, so let me finish this one here, and then feature ID, because you are doing exactly what I was hoping you would be doing, because now suddenly you realize it's very easy for a table to explode into many things. So here, one classroom will have many features. One feature will be many classrooms. We'll do our many to many. Boom, boom. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so if we added departments, we would put each teacher in a department. Then we'd actually have to add a column here for department head. If we add student, we'd have to add a table for what student goes to what school. We'd have to add a table to what student is in what classroom from which course. So you kind of see how this can blow up pretty quickly. Okay, so in like what took like 10 minutes, I went from one table to 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And you all see where there could be way more tables involved in here, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is just like first pass, and you know, we haven't gone through and cleaned it up and made more sense of it and further defined things. But yeah, so that's kind of how you design a database. Is just you say, okay, I know I need this table. I know I need this table. I know I need this table. So I just started with teachers, school, and classrooms, and then I just went from there.
How would you, in my project, I made the table a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
and how do you have a primary key and not have it not null? Where, so I have it where I have like, it's a real estate thing, and so it's like home inspectors. What if you
Right.
don't have a home inspection? Then there's no home inspector. Just so do you just make a row that just has, you know, just nonsense information that says you're blank, and then you
So-
take that and you assign it to that every time?
So what I would do is you have a home address, right? You have a home table.
You have a property address.
You have a property table, right? Property address, and you have a you have an inspector's table, right?
Yeah. What I
So
have is a transactions table that everything branches off of.
Huh.
And one of them has the inspectors, all the inspectors coming off of it.
Okay, so what I would do is I would find a way to link up the properties table and the inspector's table. Because one property might be inspected many times over its course of its lifetime, and one inspector would inspect many homes. So I'd have a property inspected table, and I'd have the property ID, the inspector ID, and then the date. And that way you could tell what properties weren't inspected. Because if they didn't have an entry in that table, they were never inspected. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which would be, Aaron, which would be another good use of an outer join. So if I have a properties table, a property inspected table, and an inspector's table, I can run a query using an outer join, finding what properties have never been inspected. Okay,
Okay.
make sense, Morgan?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. If you like next week or week after next, if you want to share your screen and show your ERD, we can walk through it and kind of poke at it. But yeah, so does this how I design this out make sense?
Yeah.
And you see how I kind of float. You didn't get Morgan. What Aaron had asked the question: why do you use an outer join? And that's why I started designing the table, because it made sense. Because I said, with an outer join, I can find what classrooms don't have any teachers with an outer join. Okay, that would be a great, in this case, would be another great test case. What classrooms are empty this term?
Yeah.
Okay. See, so what classrooms are empty this term? What classrooms have
The
more than one
teachers aren't
teacher?
teaching.
Yeah. What class? Because if I'm looking for like if I got a new teacher coming in, I need a classroom for them, I need to find out which ones aren't being used.
Yeah.
I could see like what teachers are using more than 3 classrooms. Because I think they're traveling. There's a lot. They're traveling around. So what's another use case off of this? Which teachers have served the longest how long has each teacher served at their school? I can find that out. I can find out because I have the start date here. I've got the school and I've got the teacher ID. So I just take the start date, compare it to today's date, find the differential. I can find out how long each teacher's been at their school. And I can find out like which teachers switch schools the most times. Which classrooms are used primarily for science classes? Which classrooms are primarily used for English classes? Things like that. do I have a classroom with sinks that's for a history class that they don't need it, you know, and if, you know, so these are all use cases I can do to find information that would be very useful to me in the curation of this data. Good. All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So then, so we're doing this backwards. So we covered the ERD first, and let's talk real quick about the query, the information for this week. So this week they want you to learn what a union is, what an intersect is, and what an accept is. So here's the fun part: intersect and accept don't work in MySQL. Union does, but accept and intersect don't. Intersect is just interjoin. That's all it is. It just intersect. You intersect two tables on a column, and that's what an interjoin does. So it doesn't need to be here. Accept is where I say, show me everything in this table except what's in this other table. So like here, if accept worked, I could put, so here I've got this union. So what union does, it takes two queries, two separate queries, and returns them in one result. So if I run this on its own, it gives me that result. And if I run this on its own, it gives me that result. If I run them together, and let's see, it's 2 rows and 40 rows. And if I run them together, it gives me 42 rows in one table. Okay. The trick about a union is that there has to be the same amount of columns in the select tables, in the select statements. I can't do this.
Do they have to be named the same?
I don't think they do. Let's find out. Let's find out. Of all the things I've asked myself, let's do it this way. Yep. Nope. They're good.
I mean, like you have to have
Oh,
last name and first name the same.
I meant to do that. I meant
Like,
to do it the other way.
You
Yeah.
can't have last update right there. Last name and last update. They have to be identical selects.
Let's find out. I've never actually tried that before.
Oh, so it just gets rid of the first name or whatever's. It's weird.
Return 42 rows. Where's the? That's weird. It doesn't return the. Huh. Oh yeah, there it is right there. Yeah. So it just has the same. It has to be the same number of columns. It doesn't care what's in it. Just as the same number. So unions aren't by no way sophisticated. They're brute force. Okay. And just two quick examples on outer joins. So I've got last name from actor, last name from customer, and I'm left joining actor and customer. So what will happen here is going to return everything from actor and only the last names that match from customer. So there's acroids in actor, but there's no acroids in customer. There's Bacalls and Astairs in actor, but not in customer. So again, when you look at this, the left join is whatever the first table is, and the right join is whatever the second table is. And again, just as this is a very simple example of it, it will return everything from the left table and only where the match is in the right table. So if I look over here, I'm doing same query from actor, right join customer. So I'm returning everything from the customer table and only things that match from the actor table. Notice acroid's gone. Abney, Adam, Adams, and Alexander, and Allard don't exist in the actor table, but they exist all in the customer table. Allens exist both. Okay. The purpose for the outer join is to return everything from one table and only things that match from the second table. And like we talked before in the example I said here, I want to know which classrooms don't have any teachers this term. I want to know which teachers don't have classrooms this term. I want to know which teachers aren't teaching a course this term.
Because an inner join would only bring back teachers that have classes.
Exactly. An inner
Okay.
join will only.
So
Go
the
ahead.
outer joins is to find out the where there's nulls.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So here's the inner join, right? So let's look really quick. So if I do this with the left outer join, I return 200 rows. If I do the right outer join, I return 620 rows. If I do the inner join, I return 43 rows. So I'm only returning where everything matches.
Got it.
And the reason I use this one also, just so you know, a lot of times when you're doing inner joins, people will try to do inner joins on a foreign key. So like if I were doing like the ones from last week, just open this up real quick. Here. These ones I was working last week, right? Get over here. Ones I was showing you last week. CDID, the other one here over here. Actor ID. These are foreign keys. Everything here is joining on a foreign key. Okay. My point wasn't showing you this specific one is that we don't have to join on foreign keys, even for inner joins. We can. It's not true that this column here has to be foreign keys because last name is not foreign keyed to these two columns, actor and column. Those aren't foreign keyed. So as long as the columns have the same data type in them, you can compare them. It's usually just not a great idea that it's not foreign keyed. But so
The join was to link them together.
it is to link them together. But the reason you do it on a foreign key table, particularly the reason you do it on a foreign key, particularly on an inner join, is you want to make sure that the data is in there. You want to make sure it's clean. The whole point of a foreign key is to make sure, like, if we go back over this table here, if I was looking at foreign keys, I would make sure, like, I would go here, I would foreign key school to teacher has school. Because remember, the purpose of a foreign key is to make sure whatever is in here exists here. Okay. I would make sure that course ID is foreign keyed to here. I make sure the teacher ID is foreign keyed to here. So I never have an instance where someone could put data there that doesn't exist. Someone couldn't go in here and add, like, teacher 367 that doesn't exist.
So why are you linking them in that other example then?
Just to show you that you can do it.
Oh, that is possible.
Yeah. Because sometimes, I mean, so in some case, and I bring it up is because sometimes you do have to, I didn't mean to do that. Sometimes you do have to link columns. Let's say
The city and city thing like we did before.
sort of, but let's try more. Let's say you own you own a real estate company, right? And you've got your database and all the properties that you've dealt with and blah, 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 right? And let's say you buy a different real estate company and they've got their own database and you're trying to put them together, right? So you want to do a search between the clients. That's a client table and you have a client table. So you might want to join those tables together to see, like, where the customers match, right? So you want to do a foreign key. You can do like let's say you've got like my company clients versus company X clients, right? So I'll do select first name, last name for my clients right outer join company X clients, and they're going to show me all the clients that they have that I don't have in that join.
Got it.
Say, so sometimes, a lot of times, the outer joins are used. I've personally primarily used them for comparing two different databases during the point where I'm trying to merge the two of them.
Got it.
But there definitely are solid uses for outer joins. And it's important to remember, because I ran into a lot of DBAs who run into getting the headache of thinking that you can't use a join on columns that aren't foreign keyed. It's messy. It's not a good thing to do, but there are very specific reasons to do it. Okay. So to recap that, union operators take two select queries, put them into one result set. It has to be the same amount of columns in both select queries. And it returns in one table, and it's very brute force. And as you can see, it doesn't have to make sense, because last update, last name, first name, it doesn't make sense. It's just, you just need to know it intersects the two of them.
But it's better to keep them the same though, right? Because like that
Absolutely. Yeah,
actor column or that last update column was just garbled information.
absolutely. Yeah, you want to make sure that you always, whenever you write a query, you want to make sure the data that comes out makes sense. So that's union operator. Intersect operator doesn't exist in MySQL. It takes two tables and joins them on a specific column, which is also what this bad boy does, the inner join. The accept operator, it'd be like I would do this here, and then I would do this here, and I would do accept. Okay. Okay. So what I do is return all of that, and then where this, and then just return where that, well, this is going to break completely, but where, except where this exists. So again, there will be one question on your quiz about it. It'll just ask you what an accept operator does. And where's just the one? It either will ask you what an accept operator does, or we'll say, can you use accept in MySQL? If it says, can you use accept in MySQL, the answer is no, false, you cannot.
Feels
It
like all
asks-
the quiz questions are trick questions.
So
Like
I
they're
did,
not straightforward. Like it's like that, where it's just like a word off. And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, like I've even emailed you about one where it's like,
yeah,
is the select statement the last statement? No,
Yeah.
it's not, because the order by is.
yeah,
And it says in all the documentation that we've been taught at this school that it goes in that specific order. And I got it wrong. And it's like,
yeah.
there's
So
a
what
lot
about
of
us?
trick questions inside
There
of
are.
there. And it's like you can't get a good grade. It's hard.
Well, you can, because I go back and change them. I think I go back and change them because
Well, it's second, you start
Because-
second guessing yourself because you feel like I can't get these right.
yeah,
And so you're like, oh, are they implying this? Or I feel like they're asking this, but they're implying this. So is it a trick question? So then it really messes with you. All those
Yeah.
quizzes really mess with you.
yeah, I know, and I can just, I didn't make the quizzes, so they were made by other people, and I've been trying to fix them. There is one. Is it next week's quiz? I've got to get there. There's next week's quiz. It's either next week's quiz or week 7's quiz that asks questions that have nothing to do with any of the reading. It's a command that is never taught in any class that I've ever done. So I've got to go in there and hopefully I'll remember to do it beforehand and delete them. But I've been trying to get them to change quizzes. Yeah, I get it. They're just very convolutely worded. I get that.
Yeah.
But if you let me know the questions that are there, and there are some that I will just immediately grant credit for. And I never know, because it's a batch of like 50 questions that you might get. So yeah, if you feel the question's unfair, just let me know, and I'll go and I'll fix it. Just because it's dorky. But
Sometimes it asks questions that aren't even in the book.
well,
Like
well,
I've even searched the text you know,
Yeah.
because it has a good search in O'Reilly. And it doesn't even use some of the words. And so you're like, well, this isn't even in the book and I've never heard of it. And then you get it wrong and you're like,
Right.
I'm
And
so confused at this point.
somewhere in week 1, I brought this up. The book is not the primary source of information in the course. Let me look up, let me go to week 3.
Yeah, I mean, you said don't read the chapter, so I'm reading the slides and I
Yeah.
search the slides and then I go to that one website that's there and I'd search that page also for,
Yeah.
you know, information. And it's like, there's nothing on this question, then I answer fine. If there's no information, and I've never heard of it,
Yeah.
obviously it doesn't exist. And then it's like, you get it wrong and you're like, what am I doing wrong here? I don't get it.
Yeah. Let me know if you see those questions. I know because, excuse me. If it's not on the slides, it should be here. If it's not, if it's not in any of those and it's not in the book, let me know so I can make a note of it
All right.
and try to go to catch in there. I get it's frustrating, and
It's tough.
and this is really half the reason why I say do the final project, because then you're not taking the final exam.
That's why I'm doing the project
Yeah,
for
which
that
is-
and those
yeah.
papers, because
Yeah.
scenario papers are difficult and
Yeah.
just
I-
making up jargon, whatever. It's easier to work on a linear project and say, hey, this is what I'm working on. I need help with this.
That, and this gives you, I mean, this is a database architecture and database administration and design course. Up until we did this project 5 semesters ago, we've never had a design element to the class. And now we have a design element, and designing is the fun part of this.
Yeah.
Design is fun. All right. So yeah. So if you see a question like that, just shoot me a message and I will go in there and fix it. If I don't do it right away, ping me again. I try to get into them. I try to get to them as quickly as I can.
I got a question on the finals, or are you going to talk about that later? The final
You can-
project.
No, you can go to. I'm pretty much done with what I'm talking about because it's 10:30.
Okay.
It's quitting time. So, any final questions?
My question on the final project is, like, last week I turned in my week 3 with my ERD
Mhm.
and I got points for it, but I think I got points for it, but I didn't get feedback. So it's like, I'm wondering what the interaction of, because like
I-
I'm kind of confused. Where do I go from here
I
type
didn't.
thing?
Wait a second, I didn't give you feedback. That's on me. There should have been feedback.
Well, I wonder if you could look in yours, because
I'm looking right
I
now.
have another teacher where he does Zoom. It's a web front end development. And he said he put feedback in, and in my side, there's no feedback.
I'm looking right
He-
now.
He does a Loom video, so my week 3 paper. And I
Okay.
mean, I turned it in late, but I didn't see any. Oh,
Huh?
yeah. Is there? Oh, I
No.
might be.
I didn't
Does it
leave any
show some?
comments. I thought I left comments, but I didn't. No, that's on me. Especially with the papers, I will leave excessive comments. I will go back and fix that. That is on me. I did for some reason.
So do you do it? Do you write on the paper, or do you leave
I put-
just in the comment section?
in the comment section.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't correct the paper. I found it a long time ago that I can do voice to text on
Yeah.
this, so I just talk it out.
Cool.
And you'll know it's very complicated if you ever get a video response from me. So that's when I got like that's one of the things I got to do
Yeah.
drawings and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, so
Mine,
I'll
one teacher does a Loom video and he just goes and records it and says, do this, change this, you know, and it works great because you can figure out what not to do the next week. So I did
Yeah.
like week 4 paper, but I didn't see any feedback. So I was like,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna just forward engineer this, and it showed me errors, so I fixed the errors, and that's what I did this week.
It's just weird that because I've got everyone else has comments. I don't know why. Sometimes my voice to text, I erase things because it didn't come out right, because voice to text is a lovely thing,
Yeah.
but it's also evil. So I will get you notes on this and I'll go to week 4. But yeah, if you don't see, because I did this, Philip did the same thing. I was late grading and Philip's like, hey, where's my week 3 stuff? And I put the voice if I thought there. But also, if I'm late getting my notes on your weekly paper and you can't move
Mhm.
forward on week 5 or week 6, then do what you have to do or wait until I get it done. Because half the time, here to be honest with you guys and whoever's watching in the ether, half the time, like I've seen, like when we hit like week 11 or 12, people are like, give me like, in their paper, like we talked on Wednesday, and that's fine with me because we probably did talk on Wednesday. So yeah, and yeah, if you want to call me out on like in like week 5, if for some reason I don't grade week 4 in time and you're doing a week 5 paper, I would have given you more information, but you didn't grade week 4. I'm like, well, that's on me.
I just
So-
didn't like, I forward engineered it, which popped errors in for not having the not nulls on my primary keys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'll fix those this week and try and work on some other stuff, but like I have questions about things. I don't know if I just pop those in my thing and then you answer
Sure.
them back.
Yeah, you could do that. You can put the,
Okay.
your paper could be, gee, here, please answer these questions.
Yeah.
And that
'Cause
works
like
too.
yeah, okay.
I'm looking, let me, look at your week 4. Yeah, cause,
I haven't,
I have another week
yeah.
4. Yeah,
oh, I did week 4. Yeah.
I only week 4. I'm gonna see.
It wasn't much. It was more in week 3, but I think in week 4, I just keep adding the ERD because it's like, I make a little tweak, I think. I just figure it's easier to add it.
Oh, I think that's me. That's probably why I didn't. Okay, that's what it was. I remember now. You sent me the file for the MWB file,
Uh-huh.
and I had downloaded it. And I graded your paper and I hit submit, and I needed to open the MWB before I like did notes on it, and for some reason my my week workbench wasn't opening. I had to reboot, so I never went back and got to it. So
That's okay.
yeah, I see. Yeah, you call me out. I'm still waiting to be back for week 3. That's totally cool. Yeah. So your steps are basically just you're doing the right thing. You're designing the database. You're getting the ERD done. You're making sure the forward engineering works. You're building out the database. And if once the database is built and beautiful and ready to go, then I strongly suggest you start doing the test cases.
Yeah, I'll have to learn how to do that because
Yeah.
I don't remember or never learned how to do that.
We'll
I
talk
remember
about
you mentioning it the other week.
Well, we were kind of talking about that here. Your test cases. So let me share my screen again.
Sorry, I don't
So
want to take everybody else's time.
no, it's okay. And I just need to. We do seminary at 5 in the morning here, so I need to.
Oh.
Don't want to go too much past that, but here, so that's not a problem at all. So don't worry about it. I close it by accident. So I closed it. So your test cases are like when we're talking about that school application, right? You want to look at the database and say, okay, if I was a end user or a manager or an employee, what would I need to know from this database on a regular basis that you could show me? So for example, for your real estate database, I need to know every inspector that we used in the year 2022. Okay, that's a report I'd want to bring up. I need to know who were the inspectors I used in this particular geographical area. So like I live in Orlando, so I want to know all the inspectors who I used that are in the Orlando area. I want to know what
Do
properties.
you populate every table with at least one line so that you can do
Correct.
some test queries?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what.
Yeah,
That's why.
because you were like, don't populate the database. And I was like, well, then how do you pull queries off? I
Correct.
was a little
So,
confused.
so there was so you must miss the last part of that. Don't populate the databases until you've written the test cases.
Oh, so just put in like one row of each table.
At least 3
or
in
2.
each table.
Okay.
So, but you want to make sure whatever data is in there will bring back results for what your test
For
case
what I
is.
need. Yeah. Usually in my sheet, and so it's like I'm pulling back. I mean, the whole idea is to use that database to pull it into a web version of that, so
Right.
that you can like pull up a property,
Mhm.
but also how many properties did I sell in July of 2005?
Yep.
I want to be able to see that, and that's why I have that. That's why I need the feedback, is like I need to know if my ERD is structured correctly, because
Yeah.
like I have my center transaction and everything's linked off of it so that I can pull from all directions, and that's like the master list of all the transaction together.
Oh, that's not good. I cannot open the document. Okay. I think maybe instead of sending me the MWB file, just send me a screenshot of the.
It was bigger than the screen, so
Ah.
that's why.
Yeah.
Here, I
Okay.
can-
It doesn't want it to. It wasn't letting me open. I'll have to figure it out. It doesn't want to let me open the file.
Let me see if I can.
Morgan, are you trying to send him the ERD?
Yeah.
Sorry, never mind my cat. I have found the easiest way to do that is to export as a PNG and then you get the entire image. Doesn't matter how, if it's, you know,
Oh, really?
off page or whatever. It just makes a graphic file and you can send
How
the
do you,
image over.
how do you export it?
Um, if you're,
Oh, export. Oh, right there, PNG.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so when you have it open, you can export it from here, but I don't have that particular thing open. I accidentally deleted it. But yeah. So yeah, you can just export it as a PNG, and then I can take that open on my screen and make it big and look at it and follow the flow through.
Okay.
Yeah, so just I'll continue I'll try to open this. I'll reboot again and see if I can open the database file you sent me. So I can take a look at it. If not, just shoot me the ERD real quick and I'll respond to it. Okay. All right. Aaron, Philip, any other questions?
I just have the same with the project as Morgan did, just the feedback, knowing if I'm
Yeah,
doing the right tables and all that stuff.
yeah. I apologize. I got pushed back on week 3, so I'm going to finish week 3 tonight. I'm going to do week 4 tomorrow. So if you need feedback from me, poke me and say, hey, where's my feedback, and I will just send you one-off feedback on that, because I'm not sure about the I just don't get tied up in week 3, but for some reason my day job is all akimbo because we're migrating. They decided to move our data center across the country, so we're in the process of trying to figure that out. So it was a little last week was a little overwhelming. So I do apologize for being late in my grading. I will get everything caught up, and I'll have week 4 graded, and it will not be behind it, and I'll keep everything up close so you guys don't get too far behind in this. Okay. But everything I've seen from you guys is doing good now. So you're all on the right track. So and you will probably be the 3 that will be here on Wednesday night. So you'll get the all the one-on-one stuff that you need from me. So next week, if you just want to fire up your ERDs, matter of fact, next week, I don't have a lot of code I got to show next week because we're just basically in the we've already talked about this phase. So if next week you guys want to each take a turn to share a screen, show me your ERD and discuss it as a group, we can totally do that.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I just emailed it to you.
Cool. I will take a look at it before I log off for the night.
Okay.
Okay,
I
guys.
just emailed you a picture. Thanks.
Cool. Okay, guys. Take care. I'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it.